everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Josephine and on this channel we talk about fragrances. Today's video is about the most intoxicating fragrances. These fragrances are powerful, they're opulent, they will draw you in, and most importantly, they will get you noticed because they have such an intoxicating trail. So if you're interested in knowing what these are, then please keep watching. Number one is a Tom Ford fragrance, and before you think about saying that it is Tom Ford Black Orchid, let me tell you, it isn't, nor is it Tom Ford Noir de Noir. It is a more underrated Tom Ford fragrance. It is Soleil Orchid by Tom Ford. This is the more fun, extroverted, wild sister of Black Orchid. It is very different than the original Black Orchid. It has a completely different DNA, but what it does share with Black Orchid is this opulence, this potency that you will find in this perfume. This fragrance is a solar floral fragrance that is extremely spicy. So what I mean by solar floral is that it is a fragrance that has flowers that evoke sunshine, that evoke exotic tropical places. So there's tuberose in here, but it feels more of a tropical floral scent, perhaps like ylang ylang or frangipani, that type of tropical exotic flower, but it's made super spicy, and also it has a hint of addictiveness with chestnut cream and vanilla. So you get that hook from the fragrance, from that sweetness, and this intoxicating floral explosion when you spray this. This fragrance is definitely more of a feminine type of scent. However, because of the spices, men could potentially rock this too, but I would say more on the feminine side. The second fragrance is called Emerald Musk by Carolina Herrera. This fragrance is part of the Herrera Confidential series, so the more premium collection of Carolina Herrera fragrances, and specifically Emerald Musk is exclusive to Harrods in the UK. I believe you can get this on the website as well, but it is exclusive to that store. This fragrance smells so luxurious and expensive and has a really intoxicating note of iris. Now the iris in here is powdery, but it's not made in a way that is soapy or too powdery or too clean. It's done in a way that is very addictive. It's a little bit sweet as well, and it's mixed with leather, with amber, musk, so it's very alluring and it's very potent. Again, this fragrance is really decadent. It smells like luxury, and this is a fragrance that is great if you are very much into oriental compositions with flowers. So say for example an oud to rose composition, you really enjoy that type of fragrance, but you want something different, something that will really grab your attention. I think that having that iris note in this fragrance is definitely intriguing, and you will probably enjoy it if you like those type of heavier, more opulent scent profiles. Number three is Halfeti by PENHALIGON'S. This fragrance is so lavish, so powerful and rich, and focuses around oud, saffron, rose, cedar, leather, and musk. So overall, this fragrance is a woody, ambery, musky fragrance that is a unisex perfume, leaning more towards the masculine end. It is extremely powerful, so definitely I get a lot of saffron, and the oud in here is sort of a Europeanized oud where you don't get much of a skankiness from the oud. It's very smooth, it's not too dark, but it is intriguing enough and attention-grabbing enough to make you want to smell more of it. This fragrance will for sure make heads turn. In fact, PENHALIGON'S actually pump out this fragrance outside of their stores to attract people into the stores, and every time that I've gone past a store of theirs, I've been just completely mesmerized by this scent. So it is a beautiful oud combination with a little bit of leather in the backdrop, but it is an incredibly gorgeous scent and so intoxicating. Number four is a fragrance called Black AFGANO by Nasomatto. This is, to note, an X-tray. So the X-tray is the most concentrated form of a perfume, which is why it comes in a smaller bottle. This is a 30 ml because you don't need that much of it. It is so potent. This smells really strong, and again, people will notice you if you wear this scent. This fragrance is a really dark dark, mysterious, smoky, woody fragrance. I would say this is for sure more of a masculine fragrance. And this fragrance smells so woodsy, but it's also green, a bit aromatic, and that probably evokes this feeling of hashish, which is what this fragrance is inspired by. But in the dry down, I find it to be very clean, almost a bit soapy and musky, and it settles beautifully on the skin. It's like almost like powdery. It's beautiful. So it's a very intriguing fragrance, also polarizing. So you definitely want to try this in store. Plus, this is quite expensive, so I would not blind buy this fragrance. This is a challenging scent and a scent that I think people who are into niche fragrances will very much enjoy. This is not a mainstream scent at all, and for sure one that smells different. Number 5 is Baccarat Rouge 540, and yes, it's not original, but it is such an intoxicating perfume, and it has to be on this list. This fragrance is made up of notes of jasmine, ambergris, and saffron, but if you've smelled this before, it doesn't smell like any of those notes at all. This is a super abstract, complex fragrance that smells really different for a lot of people. Many people have different experiences with this perfume. Some say that it smells a little bit like strawberry. Others say that it has sort of a medicinal, either dentist or hospital feel. And others say that it smells like spun sugar or cotton candy. And to me, I definitely get more of a sweeter side from this perfume. I don't get that medicinal feel from it. The way that I describe this fragrance is that it is musky. It's light but dense at the same time. So there's this duality in the density of the fragrance. And if I were to describe it in terms of sweetness, it resembles the sweetness of candy apples. So that hard sugar coating of candy apples that is red. And that is what I imagine when I smell this scent. By no means is this scent overly sweet. It smells very luxurious, premium, expensive. It smells like money. This fragrance has an incredible sillage. You don't need that much to make an impact. This is a scent that is crazy in terms of scent trail. It will just fill the room with the fragrance, and it lasts forever on your skin as well. So a beautiful, beautiful fragrance from Maison Kurkdjian. I would recommend to go with the Eau de Parfum version. Number 6 is Milano by Fragrance du Bois. Milano is a newer release from the brand, and it's inspired by the city of Milan. Now this fragrance is just spectacular. It is one of my favorite new releases from Fragrance du Bois, and it is actually very different compared to the core range of the brand. Fragrance du Bois is very well known for using natural oud in all of their compositions. It's a beautiful quality oud, and in Milano, the oud here is lighter, it's more airy. There's actually white oud in this composition, which I don't really know what that means, but it is definitely a lighter take on the usual fragrances that they create. And what I love so much about this fragrance is it's very addictive. It also has like a very juicy berry type of feel, so it's a bit fruity. In terms of the berries, it reminds me a little bit of raspberries, so it has that a bit of tanginess, and there's also a gorgeous, gorgeous leather note in this fragrance. The leather note in this fragrance is not your like car seat type of leather. It is mega smooth, super classy and elegant, and really synonymous with Italian style. This fragrance is wonderful. I would 100% sample it if I were you, and if you enjoy these type of oriental compositions, it is to die for. Number 7 is Bois Sikar by Atelier des Ors. This is your super manly, intoxicating, powerful, woody fragrance that, to my nose, features a very prominent note of Gaiac wood, which is a very smoky, woody scent. There's also notes of nutmeg, malt whiskey, and styrax, so it's overall, I find it to be very woody. There is a little bit of a boozy type element, but it's more of that wooden barrel that you would put the whiskey in to macerate. That is more what I get from this fragrance. This is a really dark and bewitching fragrance that is super smooth, but also very rough at the same time. I think this fragrance would work very well in the colder months, because Gaiac wood to me is really smoky and works well when it's really cold and crisp outside. For some reason, it reminds me a bit of the the bonfire, so the wood crackling and the bonfire on a cold winter night. Number 8 is Sleek Suede by Yves Saint Laurent. This fragrance is part of the Vestiaire des Parfums collection, specifically the Oriental collection. I believe there's 3 to 5 fragrances within this collection. The bottles are stunning. I'll put it on the screen. This is your super luxurious and opulent chocolate scent. Yes, you heard me. This is a chocolate fragrance, and it's not just any type of chocolate. This is your Swiss quality grade chocolate, but more importantly, it is chocolate in its raw form. This is your cacao powder in its purest, most natural form. So it feels chocolatey, but it's bitter, and it's also very earthy. So there's patchouli in this fragrance as well, which really enhances this darker, more bitter and earthy side of cacao. But then it's softened by a little hint of vanilla to just balance it out a little bit, making it a little bit more wearable and not too dark. Because of the high dose of patchouli and the bitterness and darkness and earthiness of this fragrance, I would say this leans towards more masculine. It is by no means gourmandy per se. It's not overly sweet. This is the type of fragrance that you want to wear during the nighttime when you're really well dressed and polished. Perhaps if you're a man, you're wearing chinos. If you're a girl, you're wearing a beautiful dress. I think this is how you should wear this fragrance, in my opinion, and how you can pull it off. Number 9 is a fragrance called Opulentas by Navitus. For those of you who don't know, Navitus is Steven's brand over on the channel Redolescence, and this is part of 3 new fragrance releases that came out only recently. Opulentas, the name is so fitting for the theme of this video. It is all about opulence. This fragrance is opulence in a bottle. This is a very strong, woodsy oud with a bit of a floral touch type of fragrance. So there's oud in here, but there's also patchouli, amber woods, oak moss, and rose. Now, for those of you who think this is a traditional oud to rose composition, not at all. Actually, I find that the rose in here isn't sweet, isn't jammy. It's actually very fresh, and it takes more of a backseat in this composition. It just lifts the perfume, in my opinion, and gives it a little bit of oomph amongst all of this really rich woodiness. I get actually a lot of oak moss in this fragrance as well, which I find makes this perfume quite a masculine scent. There's something that is very addictive about this scent, and it's a very wearable oriental perfume. Number 10 is Superbia by Memoize. This is one of my favorite rose to oud compositions that I've ever tried. I love this fragrance. In my opinion, it competes with Rose d'Arabie by Armani. It's on a similar vibe to it. The rose in here is a little bit sweet and jammy, but it remains fresh. And I find that the oud in here, it's not animalistic. It's very, again, I guess a European type of oud. It's very opulent, and also there's a lot of musk in here, which gives it that strength, power, and especially that tenacity, that longevity of the scent. This fragrance is strong, but it's not going to give you a headache. This is not a rose oud composition that will give you a headache. The sillage, the trail is incredible on this fragrance. It just embalms the room and also highly complimented. So if you haven't tried Superbia, I highly recommend you do. Memoize has a discovery set of their fragrances. I don't know if Superbia is part of it, but if you're interested in trying this fragrance, I would recommend definitely going for a discovery set so that you can test it out for yourself. Number 11 is Hibiscus Palm by Aerin. So this fragrance, compared to all the other ones, isn't an oriental. It isn't an oud-based scent. It isn't a heavy woody scent. Quite the contrary. This is a very intoxicating floral fragrance. This is a beautiful, sort of a tropical holiday floral exotic scent, similar to the Tom Ford Soleil Orchid in that floral exoticism, but it's not spicy, doesn't have that richness, the same richness as the Tom Ford Orchid Soleil. This fragrance is really stunning in terms of its florals, but it also has a really addictive coconut milk note in here that gives it that balmy, tropical holiday feel. This perfume perfume has an incredible trail. Every time I've worn this on holiday, I have gotten so many compliments from both men and women. So gentlemen, if you intend on getting a summer fragrance for your loved one or partner, I would recommend you go for Hibiscus Palm by Aerin. Believe me on this, this is an incredible scent, and I do not know a woman who doesn't like this fragrance. And the final fragrance is Side Effect by Initio. Initio Parfum is a gorgeous niche brand. It is a sister brand to Parfum de Marly and actually is under the same parent company. So the quality of the fragrances are incredible, and I would say that Initio Parfum, the fragrances are more daring and more complex and a bit more niche, yet still likable compared to Parfum de Marly. So Side Effect is your boozy tobacco vanilla fragrance. This fragrance packs a huge punch when you first spray it. Just wow, it like will overwhelm your senses, but in the best possible way. It has notes of tobacco, rum, vanilla, cinnamon, so it's warm, it's spicy, it's boozy. It's basically like having a shot of rum and then doing straight after the cinnamon challenge. You know, like if you just put a full spoonful of cinnamon in your mouth and see what happens. I haven't done it, but that is what the impression that this fragrance gives me. So it is really potent, but then in the dry down, it becomes a bit more mellow and it warms to your skin. The boozy feel kind of takes a step back and just chills for a little bit. So what you get on your skin is a very creamy and smooth tobacco scent that resembles very closely to Herrera by Parfum de Marly, but it still remains quite distinct because of that cinnamon spicy note that will give Side Effect a nice spicy kick. So that was it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this little list of fragrances. Let me know what your most intoxicating fragrances are. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video. Bye!